Technology. While sometimes it may cause us problems, it can solve these problems too. It's a powerful tool for creating efficient solutions, community and inspiration. Technology is the future, and driving this future are some incredible innovators and entrepreneurs. And you'll meet some of them in this episode of Elevate, which starts right now.
Elevate, in association with Lift Women, inspiring female founders.
Hello, I'm Jamila Jallo and welcome to Elevate by Lift Women, the show where we get down to business on celebrating women who are elevating others and making a difference. Now, whilst Lift Women are the presenting sponsor of today's discussion, all of the views and opinions in the following segment are of course our own. And on today's episode of Elevate, I'm joined by two inspiring female founders who are breaking the barriers for women in tech industry with their life-changing and uplifting innovations, achievements and stories. And with that, I'm delighted to welcome my first guest today, and increasingly so, cyber risks, threats and attacks are becoming more and more heard of. And whilst big corporations tend to stay protected, smaller businesses tend to get left behind. But co-founder and CEO of Cynch Security, Susie Jones, is on a mission to change just that by simplifying cybersecurity and creating a more cyber fit, strong and secure world for everyone. Susie, with that, it's so great to have you on the show. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Now, let's just start with your story. And how did you find yourself in the tech sector, but also particularly in cybersecurity?
Yeah, it definitely wasn't something that I set out to do, like so many that fall into cybersecurity. So I actually started my career as a corporate insurance broker. I spent 10 years climbing the corporate ladder of the insurance world, and then transferred across to Australia Post as their insurance manager. And that was my first introduction to cybersecurity.
Wow.
And that was through purchasing cyber insurance for the Australia Post Group. But really, that period of time when I got to meet so many people within the cybersecurity team at Australia Post opened me up to a whole world of possibilities and options where cybersecurity is so misunderstood because so often we're talking in tech jargon. So my skills in terms of being able to translate complex things into plain language, into business language, was really needed there. And so found myself as head of cybersecurity business services before leaving to start Cynch.
Oh my gosh, wow, what a story. Now, on that, tell us about Cynch Security. What is it? What do you guys do? And what do you stand for?
Yeah, absolutely. So Cynch was started because my co-founder and I found ourselves on a project within Australia Post, working with small businesses that had suffered a data breach. And we heard countless stories of just how personally affected those small business owners were when they suffered a data breach. And we realized that really the whole cybersecurity industry was leaving them behind because everything's too expensive, it's too technical, and it's too hard for small businesses to use. So we wanted to develop something that's going to help small businesses to avoid having one of the worst days of their working lives. So Cynch was born, and we've built a cyber fitness platform that breaks down all of the complexity of cybersecurity into plain language, tailored programs so that small business owners can actually get on top of their risk themselves and understand what it is that they need to do and get on with it.
Yeah, for sure. And as we know, technology is advancing in ways that are both beneficial but at some times detrimental to society and, of course, small businesses, as we've seen with high-profile security violations recently. So how is it that everyday people, and especially small businesses, can protect themselves from such threats?
Yeah, we've really seen everything evolve over the last 3 years since everybody was sort of sent home to work from home. Technology is just an absolute everyday part of business life. And so it's really about understanding and actually taking the time to understand where are your key assets, where are your key data stored, making sure that you're systematically locking down those systems using strong passwords, making sure that you're being intentional about security and really getting on top of it, particularly for small businesses that are in large supply chains. So we also help the other side of the coin when it comes to large businesses that have lots of small businesses in their supply chain, because it's really, really hard to gain visibility across small businesses in that space. So for small businesses that are working with big business, being intentional about your security and being able to answer those procurement questions is really critical to growth.
Yeah, 100%. Now, on that note, what is the importance for businesses to consider cybersecurity, especially the small businesses and startups that might be a little bit behind when it comes to their security of their cyber systems? What risks do they face if they don't implement such security?
Yeah, what we've really seen, particularly over the last 6 weeks or so, is the perception of consumers has really changed in terms of their expectations about the way that their data is protected and stored. The expectations far outstrip where regulation sits. So whilst many small businesses might not actually be obligated according to privacy laws or any sort of other regulations to say that they must do the right thing, their customers are actually demanding it now. So if you're not doing the right thing in terms of protecting your systems, actually monitoring to check that there's nothing going on, and preparing for an incident if it does happen, you're really doing your business a disservice, because consumers these days are actually expecting a lot more of all of us.
For sure. And Susie, as a successful female founder in this male-dominated world of tech, and also in someone who is making strides in a growing industry, what message do you wish to elevate through your work at Cynch Security?
I think really, I just want everybody to just give it a go. There are so many different roles in the world of cybersecurity. You don't have to have a tech background like I don't, and you can still have a meaningful difference in the lives of whoever it is that you end up serving. It's one of the few industries where everybody that you work with are good guys, right? Like that's, it's an entire industry trying to fight the bad guys. So really, if you're somebody that wants to have a meaningful difference in the world, cybersecurity is the place to go, and you don't have to have a tech background. You can always make a difference.
For sure. Well, Susie, thank you so much for joining us on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
On to my next guest now, who joins me from ReciME, the recipe sharing platform that's creating a community for anyone and everyone to publish, discover and explore food from around the world through a single free app. And with that, it's my pleasure to welcome ReciME app co-founder Christine Nguyen. Christine, thanks so much for joining us on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Now, firstly, tell us your story. I understand you co-founded this company with your sister and best friend in lockdown and have now recently raised $500,000 in pre-seed funding. I mean, what has that journey been like, and what is it that you've created along the way?
It's been an amazing journey, and like Sue earlier, it's something that I didn't expect to find myself doing, and it really just came out of a problem that I had during. Our story really began when my sister Ivy and I started writing down our family's Vietnamese recipes for the first time. And for us, food has always just been this amazing part of our community and a big part of our upbringing. So when we did that, we wanted to find a way to publish it, and find a way to connect with people who were interested in that food. And in doing so, we realized that the publishing industry, particularly the online recipe publishing industry, was quite lacking. And there weren't many solutions out there that were both helping amazing recipe creators build a community around themselves, while also helping them to monetize. And so we went on this journey to start creating ReciME. So
It's amazing.
we released our MVP last year, in 2020, and we've now grown to a community of 15,000 people. It's so exciting, and we're very excited to continue growing over the next few years too.
Now, as someone without a background in technology who's created a company that exists within the tech space, I mean, you've created an app. What have you learnt when it comes to the importance of knowledge in technology, not just for business owners, but for everyone, of course?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, particularly as someone who doesn't come from that background. And having built a business now, I've realized that technology touches everything that you do, from marketing to product, which is primarily my role. And so, so whatever role you're in, the more experienced you are with technology, the more reach you'll have, the better products you'll be able to build. So, I definitely recommend anyone today who's looking to kind of find the next steps in their career to figure out where their knowledge gaps are and pursue that. I think it's an invaluable thing to have that knowledge.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, as we mentioned before, you and your team at ReciME have raised $500,000 in funding and gained 150,000 users and grown 50% month on month since only launching a year ago. So what advice do you have for other female entrepreneurs who are trying to secure funding and get to the same position that you are now?
My advice to other female founders would be just to keep on going and to keep your head up. From personal experience with fundraising, it's definitely tough, and you'll get a lot of rejections. But at the end of the day, if you truly believe in what you're building, then just keep on going, and people who will really, really support you and back you. We took a lot of meetings with lots of different investors, and having that idea of the right people who understand your vision and he'll support you through your journey through all the ups and downs, will make a huge difference in keeping you motivated as you keep building your business. So if you have an idea, if you want to build it, just do it.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, on the back of that, Christine, what message do you strive to elevate as both a woman in business and beyond?
I think my message would be quite similar, which is it's a tough world out there, particularly for women who are fundraising, and I certainly felt that. And my advice or my message is A, don't give up, but also B, give back where you can. I had so many amazing female founders, investors, community members in the startup space who gave me advice just for free throughout the whole journey, and who I continue to keep in touch with today. And I can't emphasize how helpful that was, just to have those female backers in place to know and to have role models to look up to. So the community works both ways. Definitely ask for help where you need, and definitely give it back where you can.
Great advice, Christine. It's been a pleasure to have you on the show today, and thanks for joining us, of course.
Thanks for having me.
Some incredible women on today's episode of Elevate by Lift Women. Thanks for watching, and of course head to tickernews.co for more. I'm Jamila Jallo, and I'll see you again soon.